the site work contractor.
Yeah, it snowed.
Yeah. It snowed. It snowed. It got cold.
How dare it do that in Michigan?
We always told all of our contractors, it gets hot every summer and rains, and it gets cold and snows in the wintertime. So that stuff is normal.
Mm-hmm. So has it been a day of celebration today, Don? You're
No,
mute. No?
you mean for Martin Luther King's birthday?
No,
Hey, why are we having a meeting? It's a holiday, right?
exactly.
Right.
Just because it's your birthday, Don, don't mean we're not going to have a meeting.
No, it's Martin Luther King's birthday.
Yeah, but you're gonna claim that it's yours and we shouldn't have a meeting because you're special and everything like that.
Well, that's what I have been telling people. They're like, "What's today? Why the banks and everything closed?" It's like, "Oh, 'cause it's my birthday. Why else?"
Well, we know why the bank is closed because it's your birthday. They have to honor you to make sure that they get all your money.
Oh, brother.
Here we go.
Here we go.
You know,
Okay,
when you own those big bed and breakfast places like that, you know, and multiple ones, I mean, they just got to be raking in the money.
Okay, let's call this meeting to order with the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the
To the
flag
flag
of the United States of America
and to the republic for which it stands, one nation,
under
under
God,
God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Sarah, do you have to take the roll call or not? Or since we're doing it virtually, do we have to do something special or you can see everybody?
I think I will take roll call just because there's a few more people in here than normal.
Okay,
Mayor Joe Green,
here,
Councilor Eschenbacher,
Yeah, I'm here.
Councilor Botchke,
Here.
Councilor Campbell.
You're on
I
mute,
see
Emily.
her. Yep, there she
I
is.
thought I unmuted it. Here.
Sorry. Councilor Hall. Hall,
Yes, here.
Councilor Jones Hollaback,
Here.
Councilor White.
Here.
Gotcha.
okay, next item is agenda approval. Any additions?
How deep do we want to get tonight? I could have a couple.
No? You want
Adam.
to?
Well,
Be good.
before I add them to the, well, let's add a policy committee meeting. Can I do that?
I thought we
Okay.
were waiting until March to do that.
Tish, I really think we need to get started here. I don't know if anybody is as bored as I am because we can't go anywhere anymore and started in on reading some of our ordinances and policies. I usually take like a couple a night and just read it. We kind of really need to go and start in on that, and it's going to take a while to do these things.
Which ones are you looking at addressing?
Oh, I just started right from the top, Tish. I mean, I started right at A1 and was working through, and I'm like down to, I don't know, it's like B or C or something, just starting in the C, I think. We really need to look at some of it.
So you're wanting a complete overhaul of the.
Well, I want us to go through, yes, and take each one and say, okay, this is good, this is bad, what do we do? Yeah, I think it's time for, if we're going to do this master plan and all this stuff, we need to get our policies in line.
Okay.
So, I really think we need a couple of policy committee meetings to see how we can move this along.
Okay,
Okay.
what else?
Can we get well, I'll bring it up later. These are things that I need to do. I don't really think we need it on the agenda, but it's like some work for the fire chief. and for Matt to get some prices.
Okay.
Okay,
Okay, we had a number 5 policy meeting schedule. No other items, entertain a motion.
make the motion to accept the agenda as read with the addition.
Support.
We got a motion and support. Any further discussion? Okay, Sarah?
Botchke,
Yes.
Campbell,
Yes.
Eschenbacher,
Yeah,
Hall,
Yes.
Jones Hollebeck,
Yes.
White,
Yes.
Mayor Green.
Yes, motion carried. Next item, public comment / visitors. Any public comments? Any public comment? If not, we move on. Communication. Proposed budget timelines fiscal year 2021, 21, 22, EDC working projects list, MML virtual capital conference, March 16th and 17th. Gas River Greenways 2020 year of review, Parks and Rec minutes of December 16th. Any discussion? I had one on the timelines for the budget. Normally, the council has more than one workshop. I was wondering if you would like to add another one. I would.
yeah, I did see that here. I think we probably,
I was
Let's
kind
do
of
the-
just going off of last year, but last year was a different year with, because COVID hit right in March in the middle of our budget. So possibly that's why we didn't do more than one.
could we add one in there between April and May someplace? Before the public hearing, so we could go over it before we take it to the public?
That would be that
Uh,
April 19th meeting.
Oh, is that what you, okay, you're gonna, okay, I'd see what you're saying, Sarah. And
Yeah,
we
so
can
you
make
could-
changes then too?
Yeah.
Yeah, I was just gonna say you could use that committee of the whole meeting as a workshop too, if you need to.
Okay,
Well, I guess that would work, wouldn't it, Joe? That would work.
Yes.
That way we can make our changes there if we wanted to.
as long as we get the information ahead of time that we can look
Yeah,
at
so we
it.
can look it over.
Yes. Okay.
Uh,
Any
I was-
other-
I was just gonna see, is anybody else thinking about doing the virtual CapCon besides the mayor?
I am.
Well, I figured that much.
Anybody else for the Capital Conference? See, it depends if we do just one or if we do a group, you know.
I saw a couple of the sessions that I would like to look at, but
I didn't get that far into this.
We can have 6 to 12 people for a flat rate of $780, or if it's just one person, it's $150. For 2 people, it'd be $300. If 6 people to 12 people, the flat rate is $780. So it'll take in the whole council and Matt, if they wanted to do it, or any of the department heads, if any department.
I was gonna say, Matt, you have to go now, right?
I plan on attending, yes, yeah.
Roughly, Tisha, you're talking about going, so that's 3 already.
Well, there's a few of the seminars or the breakout sessions that I would like to look
Yeah.
at, yeah.
So that's $450 already. If there's anybody else, it might be better to go with the
The
780.
group, yeah.
So what do you want to give to people, Sarah, a few days to think about it?
Sure.
And to get with Sarah, and then Sarah do it either way, you know.
And for Emily and Corey, this is something that you can do whether you've done the newly elected training or not. You can still do this.
And also you get, if you join up to EOA, you get credit for going to it too. So it's be starting on your education process. Like Tisha says, you pick the ones you want to take part in the seminar. There's a bunch of breakout groups of different topics to take in. There's general sessions.
Which are very informative.
Yes. Tells you what's going on in DC and the state or the government, you know, and I've been around the state too. So think about it. And if you'd like to, get with Sarah within the next week.
Yeah, I'd say I'm interested.
Yeah, me too.
All right, that's a group.
Okay.
Yeah,
Oh, but I mean,
I think that meets your threshold anyway with the,
Price wise, yeah.
I mean, if we reach the threshold, we can put down everybody's name and email address, and they could go in too, because you have to list everybody's name name and title and email address. So we could put down everybody, and they could take in part of it or take in couple sessions or whatever. Okay. Moving on to the consent agenda, council workshop minutes, January 4th, regular council minutes of January 4th, invoices, department head report, police report, fire report, code enforcement, DPW, water report, wastewater treatment, and municipal parking. Any questions or comments?
Is the fire chief here tonight?
Yes,
Randy?
yes.
One of my things when I was talking earlier about, I had listed here, is we had talked in our last meeting about, you know, we all got together here at the meeting and we talked about pay for the fire department and their wages and things.
Okay.
Is there any way that you can reach out to some of the other cities around that have like volunteered fire departments and see their base of how they pay their people and, you know, the money that they do make?
Oh, definitely.
And
Also,
bring that back to us?
Yes. Also, Corey had asked at the last meeting that I do like a 3-year average in comparison with a raise to what we were paying to what, you know, type of increase there would be. Plus,
Right.
I can get you that other information.
Okay.
Yeah, that's not a problem.
And then the other thing I would like you to do, Randy, and if you can, and I don't need the whole entire fire department. I mean, could a couple of your guys come to the meeting where you bring that with us and sit in the meeting with us and explain themselves, you know, not explain themselves, but to understand what we're trying to do and give us some information of what they expect from us?
You mean justifying a raise? Is that what you're saying?
Not justify it, but to come and say, okay, we've been working for this much money for this long, you know, what they expect us to do for them.
Right.
You know,
well,
I want their input, Randy. I don't want to be the, you know, over the years, I've since I've been on the council, I've heard that nobody up front will listen to anybody. Okay. And I've heard it not just from the fire department, but, you know, residents and everything else, that we don't listen. We only do what we want. I don't want that. I want them to have some input on what is happening with them.
Correct. Yes. Since prior to me taking over, you're absolutely right. There was like a wall there, and we were even told not to consult with council and that, you know. Since I've taken over, I've tried to break that down. the part of the problem with firemen coming in for any kind of a pay increase, they've never asked for it. This was done solely by me. They're
Correct.
content. You know what I mean? They're
Yeah.
okay.
And I understand that, but I also don't want us to say that, you know, whatever we do, if we do nothing or we do something, that it was wrong. I want them to be part of what they diligently do deserve.
Okay.
I don't want them to say, I don't want that wall to be there anymore, Andy.
No, and I agree. I agree. I've worked
I do have to interject just a little bit because
for years to try and knock that down. So, and it's real good.
what I would suggest is that if we want to know what the firefighters are thinking, that we could ask them in like a survey or something, but we can't remove the intermediary step of administration when it comes to employee relations.
Or I was, Bob, I was thinking a different way to do it. Have one or two firefighters come and tell us what their duties are and what they do, not
Okay.
they're negotiating with us, just what they do to take care of the equipment, the fire hall, because a lot of council people really don't know what they do, what they have to do, what training they have to get and stuff. It's
Because
educators.
you know, that was only my thought, because I didn't know how else to get my point across, guys. I mean, now that you're, you know, weighing in on this, it's better. I mean, I don't care how we do it. I just don't want the wall between us, the police chief, and all that. That's got to go away. We need to all work together to move things forward. But I mean, if Matt, you know, or Joe, I don't care. I mean, just so we feel like they're a part of what we do.
No, what I mean is, I think I know where Matt's coming from. He doesn't want it to appear that we asking the firefighters to come and negotiate and increase.
Right. And now that he said that, I get it. I get his point. Okay. But I needed to word it somehow. I didn't know how to put it, guys. That was only my point.
Have some come and just explain what their duties are when they go on a run or taking care of the equipment and stuff like that.
Correct. Yes, and we can definitely do that. Not a problem. I see everybody's viewpoint. That's not going to be an issue.
Okay.
That's all I wanted. I just want them to be, you know, so they think that they belong with us and that they, you know, we do care.
Yes.
I agree that there has to be a better flow of information throughout the organization, but that flow has to come through my office and the administration. It can't be direct. That would be a violation of the city charter. So everything has to flow through me.
But you know what? I guess what I'm saying, man, is you know what I'm trying to get to?
Yep.
Okay.
A mutual understanding of what everybody does in their particular roles and having communication back and forth. I get it.
Thank you, Matt. I mean,
and I can help with that. I've been working on it myself.
For clarifying that.
Okay. I got a question on the bills there. That Huntington National Bank, is that the fire truck payment?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
I had a question on the bills also. What is the payment for Habitat for Humanity?
That was a board of review adjustment done. So that was a refund of their taxes because they had a board of review adjustment.
Okay. I had another question, but I lost my paper.
I had another one, that R&R, technical services.
Right on.
Yes, that is for a multiple things. They're doing network upgrades for us.
Okay, that's our network. Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you, Joe. That was my other one.
Okay.
Yeah, you both beat me to them.
Okay, are there any other comments on any of the reports?
No.
Is that technical services company working on our website by any chance?
No, that's something totally different, I think, right, Sarah?
They do. Well, they weren't ever contracted to work on our website, but yes, they have been helping us with our website in the meantime until we hopefully can get something else.
There were a couple of links on our site that I went to today that come up unfound. One was council members and committees.
Okay.
That information is not out there. I had a citizen point that out to me this afternoon. I'm not sure what she was looking for, but she couldn't find council people and the committees that they represent.
We don't want.
Yeah, we were actually having trouble with that page last week, and I thought it was fixed, but thank you for letting me know.
No problem.
We don't want to be found, Jill.
Exactly. I get that.
And I had another question for Curtis, or maybe you, Bob. After DPW unplugged the sugar factory sewer line, we received some more black substance. But the sewer line was plugged at the sugar plant, or?
No, we talked to me, Mayor.
Oh, yeah, that was on Curtis's report, yeah.
Jeff
Yeah,
Curtis is working
they
with
called me again the other day and they had a backup line again. That's something they're gonna have to address this summer. The sugar factory's gonna have to do something with it because there's a low spot in our line there and we're having issues every year where we go over there and clean it out for them.
Is that the line
It's coming off their restrooms.
I think
The one in park lot.
The manhole that's in the big parking lot where they pile all the sugar beets. Is that the one you're talking about?
That's the one I'm talking about, yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
I don't know if Curtis can hear you or not, but.
Yeah, that thing right there, I think they're gonna have to do something with, because what the problem is that's sinking. And I think the 80,000 tons that come across it every day, 40 times a day is kind of doing it in.
Well, the black substance had nothing to do with the bad line. We were getting something in the plant. I caught it once, but we didn't get to it fast enough to trace it back. And the second time I caught it, I traced it back that direction towards the sugar plant. That day after lunch, I swung through there and I seen a hose coming out of the bin there that caught on fire. And
they were washing it out, weren't they?
So I made a phone call or two and met the new director over there, whatever you want to call him. He said he'd only been there 8 days. And I said, well, there's something coming from over here. And I said, I got an idea where it's coming from, but I said, I'm not going to point any fingers. And I said, here's the sample of it. He didn't know. He said, let me do some checking. So he did. And he come back to me the next day with a sample that looked just like mine. He said, I think we might have found it. I'm like, okay, please don't discharge that to the sewer system anymore. And he agreed not to. And then a few weeks later is when Jeff got called about a sewer plug. Well, apparently they put enough of it in their sewer line, it plugged it, and I got a whole bunch more of it. And then it wasn't maybe a week later, got an inch of rain. Of course, you know what the rain does. The I&I, it flushes out the main, so whatever was in there, I got another shot of it. And the problem is it doesn't settle well. I don't know what it is. He said it was dust, but that's
it's burnt. I can tell you what it is, Curtis. If they're in that storage tank, that pellet tank, it's the old burnt out pellets that they burnt in there. It's the ash of those pellets that they had to wash out of that tank.
Well, he said it wasn't coming from there. So he said he swore up and down that wasn't where it was coming from.
I got a sneaking suspicion that that's the only place. It's either ash out of that tank or it doesn't settle well. You're trying to tell me?
Oh, it leaves a suspended. It's black. It'll settle out. The solids settle out, but it leaves a lot of suspended
black stuff.
Which that's how my system works. Everything coagulates and then it settles out and leaves a clear supernatant. Well, when you got this stuff, it really slows the settling down and causes issues. So
I'm going to go with that. Your problem is probably solved because they put pellets back in that tank. Right. Okay. But that's probably, that's where I'm going with this. It was the settlement from them burnt up pellets. And when those burn, they don't burn clean and they don't burn all. And that's probably what you were seeing in your water sample, Curtis.
Well, like I said,
I know they didn't say it was, but I'm going to tell you that they washed that tank twice.
Right.
Okay, the inside, the outside, then went back inside and washed the inside again because the DEQ wouldn't let them store pellets in it. And you got some acid probably too if you looked at it real close.
Oh, like I said, there.
Yeah.
He done make it sound like he found somebody washing out the filters of something. I don't know. And
filters
I
should
said,
never
well,
ever got to you.
Like I said, he basically said he found it.
He'll
but
quit.
He wasn't necessarily owning up to it. Like, I think maybe we might have found. I mean, that's a kind of a weird statement.
I'll have a talk with Kevin for you.
Well, like I said, I haven't got any lately, but like I said, between the first time when we didn't catch it fast enough, it turned the whole thing black. Luckily, our system's pretty resilient. And then the second time when I did catch it was it turned the whole thing black. And then, of course, when DPW's called and they unplugged the sewer, then whatever was in their lines get that another shot. Like I said, it's just something we've been having to deal with, and knock on wood, hopefully
it's over with.
Yeah, hopefully.
Are there any other questions or concerns or comment in the reports? Entertain a motion if there are none.
Motion to accept the consent agenda as read.
Or
We have a motion and support. Are there any further discussions? Okay, Sarah?
Campbell,
Yes.
Eschenbacher,
Yes.
Hall,
yes.
Jones Hollebeck,
Yes.
White,
Yes.
Botchke,
Yes.
Mayor Green.
Yes, motion carried. Moving on to the regular agenda, fire engine number 2 repairs. Matt?
Yeah, we have, the chief can fill in the blanks on what I don't get here, but fire engine number 2 failed its pump test this year, and there was a handful of items that were defunct with it, so we have to send it back essentially to where we got it and have them fix it. The mechanical seal is bad, electrical issue with the foam tank gauges, a tank fill valve is going bad, and then a pump valve is going bad as well. So we have to get it back up in working order so it passes its test, and that is going to cost us $5,400.
Chief, is that all that's wrong with the truck?
Yeah, I have an update on that. They updated their bid. It'll be $5,515. Apparently one of the parts they had to reorder and it's a lot higher. So, and that's what they found during the annual pump test. A couple of like to rebuild a tank fill valve and rebuild a tank pump valve. Those are options right now. They're not 100% emergency. The problem is, while they have everything apart, it's going to be cheaper to do it now than later if they have to take it all apart again.
Correct. Because they have to take just about half the truck apart to get to the pump anyway.
Yeah, and that's so much of the cost is going to be labor. Correct. And then at the end of it, they will, of course, run for test. They'll run for test leaks and perform the NFPA pump test. So it should be good.
Okay.
Chief, that total was 5,515.
That's correct.
Yes.
And that, as far as you know, Chief, that would put the engine 2 back in service in good standings with the state.
That's correct. Right now, it's not out of service. It still will pump, but these are issues that, if not taken care of, are, of course, going to be catastrophic.
Right. You know? Before it burns the shaft out of it and everything else.
Right. And the main thing with the mechanical shaft there is for when we do drafting and we have to pull a suction out of a dump tank in a rural area.
And it can't do it.
Exactly. We'd be getting into what the old engine 1 was, where she failed.
Okay. My motion is to go ahead and let Freeland, is this from Frontline?
Services.
This could be Frontline Services. That's correct.
Okay, to let Frontline Services Inc. to repair engine number 2 for $5,515.
Support.
Got motion and support. Any further discussion? Okay, Sarah?
Eschenbacher,
Yes.
Paul,
Yes.
Jones Hollebeck,
Yes.
White,
Yes.
Botchkey,
Yes.
Campbell,
Yes.
Mayor Green.
Yes, motion carried. Number 2, Board of Review reappointment. Fairly cut and dry. Any discussion? Otherwise, entertain a motion.
I make the motion to reappoint April Bunk to the Board of Review.
Or
Got motion and support to reappoint April Blunt to the Board of Review with the term ending January 2024.
Yeah,
Any
that.
further- Any further discussion? If not, Sarah?
Was that Botchkey?
I supported, yes.
Thank you. Paul,
Yes.
Jones Hollebeck,
Yes.
White,
Yes.
Botchkey,
Yes.
Campbell,
Yes.
Eschenbacher,
Yeah.
Mayor Green.
Yes, motion carried. Number 3, set finance committee meeting. You have any idea of dates, Bob?
Me and Sarah talked earlier about that. She would probably like to do it before our next meeting at a half hour. Going to be good for you, Sarah?
Yeah, 6:45 or 7. Which one?
Is this for the quarterly report?
For
Yes.
the second quarter, Tish.
Got it.
7 for
I
you,
just
Tish?
said quarterly because I'm lost on what quarter we're in. So yeah.
You, Jill, you good for 7 or what?
Yeah, no, 7's fine.
Okay.
Yeah, we're good.
Is that early enough, Sarah?
Yes.
Okay,
We're gonna be able to meet at the fire hall?
yeah, we
well-
should. Yeah,
It's gonna be February by then.
Yeah, but that don't mean nothing.
We'll have to see
Well, the
what
townships
the orders
are
are.
townships are meeting in person, and the EDCs. Everybody else is
Did
meeting in
EDC
person.
people meet in person today, Joe?
Yeah, we did. One person, he was on Zoom coming in. And the county is too, so I think we should be able to switch next month.
Okay.
Last I heard, the orders were to meet virtually until January 31st.
All right. Well, maybe our next meeting, we can actually all sit in the same room together.
Yeah.
Woohoo!
Yay.
Wouldn't it be nice if, oh, sorry.
Next item, Matt, you have recreational marijuana direction. I thought we were supposed to go to get some samples of other communities.
Samples
thought
of
you were getting samples of
ordinances or
marijuana.
samples of product. Is that what you're?
Yeah, no
Product would
kidding.
product would help.
Wow. We
wa-
really are growing. I mean, going progressive. Wait.
There was a link
Exactly.
to samples in Sarah's email for the meeting. I just wanted to know what your wishes are in terms of, do you want me to draft something, get with the attorney and draft something for you to look at, or are we just gonna read through these, or I would like to have a direction on where to go from here.
I think we should have you draft something and then bring it to us. That's my opinion.
Yeah,
I
I
think so.
was kind of thinking that giving you guys a bunch of different samples would be pointless unless we had something that was a proposal for us to do. So
I agree.
yeah.
I
Does-
agree.
Does Duckworth have any samples?
I can get some from him. Yeah. I think his thought the last time I talked to him was try to keep it simple, as simple as we can. So he would try to find some from other communities similar to us that he would probably take the language for and just make it fit us. But those the ones that I provided were from smaller communities as well. So I tried to keep it small so that you had an idea of what other communities of roughly similar size are doing.
I just don't want it to look like Bay City.
Mm-mm.
You know, you
Yeah.
drive down Euclid Avenue and from Salzburg to Wilder Road, you can count 9 of them. I don't think we need 9.
I don't think we do either.
Oh, that's out inside the township, isn't it?
No, that's city.
That's city?
Euclid Avenue is still city. One
Okay,
side of
yes.
it's still city, the other side's Monitor Township and
Yeah,
that, but you know, we really don't need,
Well,
know.
Bay City's big. I mean, we're not that big.
right, but you gotta also remember that's a 2-mile stretch of road, and then you gotta go on the
Right.
east side, and there's another 9 or 10 of them.
Mm-mm.
So I mean, the
in my
question,
mind, it'd be the same as medical at 2.
I would say something on that nature, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, look at Vassar. How many has Vassar got right now?
I'm not sure, Vassar
That they had up and running
Township.
there at one given time or another. I know some of them have gone by the wayside since, but you know, I don't
I
really
know
think
of 2, I think.
huh?
I think there's 2 or 3, ain't there?
Yeah,
I think there's 4 or 5.
Is there that many?
There's some right in town and some out of town.
right.
So, but they're getting a couple big grow operations too.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Yeah, I don't know. I'm committed. I don't leave Caro much.
Wasn't our initial discussion that the 2 that were approved for medical would be given the opportunity to be also for recreational, and that we would limit it at that?
If we can write the ordinance that if those 2 want it or whatever, you know, that's the question. Are we able to give it to 2 people that already have medical or not? You know, those are some of the questions I have, you know.
Okay.
yeah, I don't think we can limit it to just us saying that these 2 people can have it only, because there may be other
Yeah.
people out there that would want to apply for a license.
yeah,
I
I agree with
agree.
that.
But, you know, I hear some of the requirements are you have to have some experience too, so.
Well,
Mhm.
yeah, I would hope, but
So then we could have 2 medical and 2 recreational, so then we
Yeah.
would have 4?
yeah.
Chances are, though, the 2 that's already here is probably going to be hurry up and put their applications in. And
But I did see somewhere, I think I read in this package that 2 people on the planning commission are against it. I don't know where I read it. I read it someplace in the packet here somewhere. Where did my paper go? I've
There's
lost
at
it.
least 1 on the planning commission, and then 1 that was part of the public comment from the last process.
Oh, okay.
Mr. Blakely, I think his name is.
Yes,
Yeah, and then the other one is Mr. Bortle. Who,
yes.
who was he was going to try to make it to this meeting, but he didn't get the link in time. But so I'm sure he'll be at future meetings to voice his
Yes.
concerns. Yeah.
So will Mr. Blakely, I promise.
Yeah. Okay, let's move on to number 5, policy meeting.
Wait a second, Matt, did you want to get a formal motion on that?
Yeah, that would help. Just to have direction of what you want me to do. I'm hearing from some that you'd like me to get an ordinance drafted, but I'd like a motion on that because it's kind of controversial. I didn't want to do something that the majority
We
of
would
council
like-
wasn't asking me to do.
I would make a motion to give Matt direction to put us together a draft.
Draft an ordinance.
Yeah.
Support.
Who was that? I'm sorry, I missed it.
Emily.
Sorry, thank you.
Motion and support to have Matt put together a draft resolution for ordinance for us. Any further discussion? Okay, Sarah?
Jones Hollebeck,
I think it's putting the cart before the horse, so I'm gonna say no.
White,
Yes.
Botchke,
Yes.
Campbell,
Yes.
Eschenbacher,
Yeah.
Hall,
Yes.
Mayor Green.
Yes, motion carried. Okay, policy meeting?
That would be you, Tish, I believe.
It is. Who else is on it though?
I think me.
Me?
And Corey, I think, isn't it?
Okay.
Am I on
Steve
the,
and Corey?
Okay, so if we already have a meeting scheduled prior to the next meeting, do we want to go any earlier than 7? Because it's looking like it's going to be a really long, drawn out process if we're thinking about going through every policy.
Could possibly next Monday night too, just do it different night.
I mean, I have every Monday off of work because it's easier for my employer to remember every Monday than it is for him to take
Every other Monday.
first and third. So it's easy for him to just say, okay, you have every Monday off. So I can do whatever, but I don't know, Corey, I don't know your schedule.
If we're talking about possibly being able to meet in person starting February 1st, we're not going to be able to sit for hours and just digest this policy.
Well, no,
thing.
we wouldn't be able to take it. It's going to be like, how do you eat an elephant one bite at a time? So we're going to have to.
So my thought is, do we go at 6 o'clock on February 1st in person, concentrate for an hour, then have the finance committee meeting, then go to the council meeting? Or is that too long?
I'm okay with that. Corey, I don't know if that works for you.
It shouldn't be an issue.
Okay, let's say that then. Let's do policy. Oh, Sarah, is that okay for you?
Yeah, February 1st at 6 p.m. you said?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm not saying, Tish, that you got to get right down, you know, I think we should, you know, the only thing I'm saying is I think we should just sit down and you guys go through them, you know, one at a time, read it. If it makes sense to you, then leave it. But if it doesn't make sense to you, write that one down to like say, okay, we're going to take this one to council to see what we can do about this one.
Well, I think there's some immediate things that have to be done. I think there's some things that should be addressed right off the top.
Right.
But then there's some other things that we can say, okay, well, this, it, you know, can maybe wait.
Right. Yeah.
But
so
let's address.
If we're eating the elephant, do we want to cut it in thirds and everyone can kind of bring some things to the meeting in terms of stuff that we think all of us need to look at?
I think it would be beneficial to do that, to maybe just take a look at what you can, or maybe just take a look at that first section and see, okay, what are the main things in this first section that we need to take a look at, or that need to be changed immediately, the things that we can work on later, the things that we can, you know, that are
I
fine.
wasn't going to want you guys to just go barreling through this, you know, because it all had to be done. You know, I don't care if this takes a year, you know, but let's start the process of doing it, because that's going to lead me to my next thing on my list.
Okay.
Which is?
See where I'm going here with this, Tish?
Which is?
Which
Bob?
is, if Matt would come back.
I'm sure he's here.
I'm here. I've been here the whole time.
My next thing that was on my list is, after this policy thing gets kind of started and Tish and her group gets going on this and things are working, you know, you said earlier, Tish, that, you know, back, you know, you thought we were going to wait for this until March. Well, my next thing on my list is maybe hiring or getting somebody for our city attorney that can help us. I mean, I like Gary, don't get me wrong. He's a nice gentleman and everything like that. He's local and that. But I think the scope of our issues, for the most part, are more than he can handle. And I think we need to find maybe a law firm that has multiple things that they do, you know, like we have lawyers out there like Mr. Duckworth and Gary, and we had some for our the contracts. We have multiple lawyers doing multiple things for us. I'm thinking maybe, I hope that we can find somebody that can do it all. Like not just one lawyer, but a firm that can help us do what we need to get done.
Absolutely agree.
You know, and
But
I
Matt
don't know,
knows
Matt, if
that
you
I
can,
agree because Matt and I have talked about it.
I don't know, Matt, if you can.
I thought that came to the council when we had requested that Matt put out a request for.
Well, we
bids
really
on
never
that.
put anything out. We just talked about it that one night.
Yeah, I
But
was just kind of planting the bug in council's ear that was
right.
something that might be beneficial.
You know, that's why I didn't go with you with this fireman thing, you know, and all that stuff, because I know this is going to start to get a lot of work for you. Okay. And maybe you can just see if there's anything out there that we could be interested in, or if any firm is interested in working with us.
Yeah, it's definitely something that would be worth putting out as an RFP, and we can define it as we're looking for a firm that has multiple services for municipal governments.
Mm-hmm.
Because don't get me wrong, I've used Gary in the past for land purchases and things like that. Gary's a hell of a guy, don't get me wrong, but I just don't think he can handle what we're now into. Our city law is now getting bigger and bigger, and we need somebody that can help us handle that problem.
Or same as our RRC program states, we should go through all of our stuff. You know, that's part of the process that the state wants us to do to be the resource ready community, to go through our plans, our park plans, our ordinances,
right,
and update it.
Right.
You know?
We need to get moving forward here with some of these
Yes.
things. I mean, we've talked about it, but now we need to move forward with it. So we can be, if the state shows up, hey, we're doing this, we're doing this, we're doing that. And maybe it'll get us somewhere in the future of getting some extra money or something out of the deal.
But even so, if we hire an attorney, by going through this, we have to give the attorneys or the firm some direction where we want to go too.
Correct. Yeah. So I realize that, Joe, but first we have to get to that point.
But that's the first step, is to start going
to
through
find somebody that we feel good with and comfortable with working with, and somebody that feels that they can do us justice.
Yes. Okay, are we set on that?
Go ahead, Jill.
I was gonna say, I think we're leaving it the same place as we left it the last time. And it's just, we've talked about it, but we haven't given Matt the direction to go ahead and go out there and do what needs to be done to start bringing that in.
All right. My motion is to give Matt the authority to go out and find us a law firm.
Support.
Any further discussion? Okay, Sarah.
White,
Yes.
Botchke,
Yes.
Campbell,
Yes.
Eschenbacher,
Yeah.
Paul,
Yes.
Jones Hollaback,
Yes.
Mayor Green.
Yes, motion carried. Then we have the policy meeting still set for 6 o'clock, February 1st.
Yes, and I just have a quick question for Randy, if you're still on here.
Yes.
Do you guys have a fire meeting on February 1st in the fire hall?
Our meetings will be the second Monday of the month.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
Yep. So we should be all set.
Perfect.
I see
Okay,
where I was going with that, Tisha.
I got you.
Okay. Because at first I didn't think you were following along with me.
I wasn't following with you, but I got you now.
okay,
Yeah,
moving
We're gonna, yeah.
on to committee the liaison reports, the EDC. We had a meeting last week regarding that.
Oh,
Tomorrow starts the day for it's for our county here is $420,000 for grants for food service industries. And it has to be a $15,000 grant. You can start applying tomorrow at 9 o'clock. It's on the EDC website or the Facebook page. And then you have until Friday that you have to have your application in by. This is for Tuscola County. So there's a pot of money there. And then this afternoon, we had to finance, the EDC has a pile of money for under their leasing programs from USDA Rural Development, about $90,000. And we're making a loan for a lease for a piece of equipment, not a loan to an individual or a company for a chainsaw sharpening machine for $20,000.
Wow. How many chains can that sharpen at a time?
Better
Better be more than one.
One at a time. One
One
at
at a time.
Yeah.
that's a heavy duty sharpener.
It's for the Amish who build those
Right.
wood cutting machines down in Millington.
Mm-hmm.
We have a couple leases with them already. And did anybody have any questions on the EDC working projects?
No, that was pretty selfish.
They consider Jets Pizza a working project.
He keeps saying he's doing it, so that's why it stays on there.
Okay.
Okay.
Mhm.
Moving on to the Chamber of Commerce.
The Chamber of Commerce is getting ready to open back up. They're working on getting April back in the office. They're going to have COVID restrictions for a little while, but they want to start getting some events going. They're working on the Citizen of the Year project. They're not sure how it's going to look. It may end up being a virtual event, but they're for sure going to be moving forward on the student version of Citizen of the Year. So there's more to be heard about that. Obviously, we'll update you next month after they meet, but they're working on some things moving forward. And they, I think they just had an ad in the paper recently for some stuff. And yeah, they're doing the best they can. They haven't done a whole lot. They haven't spent a lot of money, and they haven't brought a lot of money in. COVID has really put a damper on the activity of the Chamber of Commerce. So we're hoping to look up a little bit more coming in the coming months. So.
Okay, thank you, Matt. Historical Society.
I don't think they're meeting, and I apologize. That
I haven't I got invited to their Facebook group, but that's about it. That just makes it sound like the city is just now trying to do something at the Roadhouse Museum, which kind of made me laugh because we've been doing things for like a year now, trying to make it better. So I didn't say anything for fear of the wrath of the Historical Society again. I see them, a couple of them every once in a while when I'm working, but that's my other job, so I don't try to get into it with them while I'm working. But yeah, I did let them know that I was made liaison to their group, but was politely told that they didn't want anything to do with. So I don't know. I don't know how that's going to work.
I visited with somebody from the Historical Society, and never did they say they don't want anything to do with us. The woman that I spoke with was more than happy to have someone from City Council attend the meetings. And as she said, how can the city know what we're doing and be supportive of what we're doing if if they don't have any interest in what we're doing. And the only way we can show interest is by being a part of them.
And Matt, have we given them a proposed lease or agreement?
Yeah,
Or, draft?
Yeah, I didn't have one on my computer because in the transition from Michael to me, everything got lost, but Sarah was able to find it and I sent it over to them. So they should be looking at it.
Okay.
Yeah. And actually, I've asked them to meet in the next couple of weeks so we can go through it and get it going because we've completed everything on their list. So all the updates have been made. So we're just waiting to sign on a dotted line once they're ready to.
Okay, thank you, Matt. Number 4, Parks and Recs.
The minutes that Matt submitted really cover what we talked about at the Parks and Rec meeting very nicely. The storybook venture seems to be top priority for right now, with the city agreeing to do the installation. We're looking at I don't want to say rules, but guidelines is probably a better word for using the splash pad and using the dog park. And we're just kind of working on signage and that sort of thing for those areas. We're meeting every month. We haven't been outside to really walk around the parks or do anything physical, but we are meeting and talking about seating and signage and, things that hopefully can take off in the spring and come together and make a statement in the spring.
I just have one question for Matt. Someplace I read that something was wrong with the fence at the dog park. Are we from the sleds? From the kids?
The kids are slamming into the I guess the east fence line. The bottom
that we can repair, Matt?
We could try to repair it in the spring. We've actually put up I had the DPW go put up straw bales wrapped in snow fence to kind of put a cushion there so people aren't getting hurt sliding under the fence. I guess there have been a couple of instances where kids have actually went through the fence underneath of it and got all caught up. So unfortunately, I guess after the first time, people didn't kind of get the idea that it was unsafe. So we kind of blocked off about halfway up with barricades, and then we put the straw bales down to hopefully give people the idea that not to do that. But we may have to have a halfway fence come back and fix those panels. So they might have to, maybe they can stretch it out again. I'm not sure, but it's pretty banged up right now.
All right.
Yeah.
Basically, in my opinion, halfway up that hill, we should plant some trees or make it, mitigate it. That side has a sort of a jump coming off of it too. Yeah.
Well, that's the fun side then. Well, that's the fun side.
What?
Well, that's the fun side. No wonder they're going down that side.
Yeah.
We need to put a jump on the other side for them.
Yeah.
At least when I was a kid, that's what we looked for, jumps.
Yeah.
I had a citizen bring up that they weren't sure if the barricades up top were indicating that the sled hill was now off limits, and had also questioned the placement of the dog park, if it could be moved somewhere so that side could still be used. They were saying people were sledding down into the the road that goes through now, and they had concerns about that.
It's my understanding from before, when I was still a part of that, Sean had brought that up several times during meetings, that sled has always, since he was a child, been used for sledding. And why would we place a dog park there when it's always been used for sledding? But it was put there anyway. So I guess I'm just confused why we would take something that's always been used for sledding and now have to block it off. When I guess I'm just confused. Like, we knew that people were going to use it for a sledding hill, and now we don't understand why they used it for a sledding hill.
Well, there's 4 sides to a hill. So, and we're only on one side, correct?
Yes, it's just one,
Right.
and they can use it if they don't start from the top down, so that was, part of the deal is, it might have to be just that side for real small kids that you don't go real fast, not all the way up to the top, right in that section, There'd be 3 other sides really.
So is that something that we want to have go back to the Parks and Recs committee about, like, what can be done with the existing sledding hill that can mitigate that?
That's what Matt was talking about, how they mitigated it already, but it might have to be some full-time mitigation put in there. Right now it's a temporary mitigation, right,
Yeah,
Matt?
it's temporary right now. There's nothing permanent in there. We just wanted to make sure that we, mitigated any kind of injuries that would happen. But yeah, I mean, we'll have to think of what to do if we want to block it off, or if we could just put straw bales up every winter and hope people don't smash through them or something.
That was what I was going to ask, if that was a, feasible option, the straw bales, if that was actually helping.
I haven't seen any additional damage, but we're keeping an eye on it to make sure. The other thing that somebody suggested to me, actually, a resident called me and said if we could just move that fence line back like 20 feet into the dog park, that would help. But I don't know if that would work or not. But yeah.
Okay, anything else for Parks and Rec, Jill?
I don't have anything else unless somebody has a question.
Okay, then let's move on to the Tuscola County Board of Commissioners. Tisha?
I talked briefly with Chairman Bardwell in person when he came into the store, so it was very brief. But I'm still having problems getting into their meetings. So now that they're meeting in person, hopefully I'll be able to make it into their meeting.
Okay. Number 6, Indian Field Townships. Last Monday I attended their meeting. Was real short last Monday, but the meeting before on December 21st, they talked about the city annexation, that proposal we gave them. They want to do some horse trading, they want us to give some land back for them, but they aren't moving forward with our proposal to take that land and our 3 parcels in, the way it sounds. Right, Matt?
That's what I got from it. In fact, I read one set of minutes that kind of ended in a kind of a fiery match between the new supervisor and the rest of the board of trustees. So it got kind of heated at one of the meetings in the recent past.
Yes,
so,
that was the one in December.
Yeah. So, and I've actually spoken to our representative about it, and I'll be bringing forward a copy of a petition for for council to take a look at regarding that matter. I don't want to say too much more without a closed session, but
okay. Okay, that's all I have on Indian Fields Township. What about Elmer Township?
I did get a chance to talk to somebody. I got a copy of the minutes from the meetings, and I read them. So I didn't really see anything.
Okay.
Next month, I'm going to actually go to the meeting.
Okay, thank you. Next one is the Airport Authority. We're working with the engineers to get the proposal on basically repaving milling and repaving the runway. I mean, the engineering work is proposed to be done this year, and to have it paved in 22, repaved. It'd be around $1 million project out there. And we're working on the west side of the grass runway to put put some field tile in there because there's always a wet spot in there. Going to have somebody come in there and put field tile in. And we're still with our tax appeal with Indian Fields Township going on with the airport right now too. Any questions? Okay, then move on to mayor's report. I got a list of things. Matt could repark that, or Jeff could repark that backhoe out front and put a for sale sign on it and put the information if there's anybody around town that would like to go online and bid on that.
I'm sure we could park it out there with a piece of paper on it.
Yeah, that's what I mean, to leave the local people know if we're trying to sell tobacco. Then another thing I was just
to say, we could also put it in the newspaper. I don't know if we've done that.
Yeah, it'd be short notice because what the deadline is 27.
Last I looked up, it was hovering around 10 grand.
Yeah. I mean, to put it on any local people if they want to consider it, you know, at least we have it parked out front. And another job for you, Matt, to look into, or what the ordinance is, maybe Tisha. What about food truck ordinance? You know, I know the farmer's market is talking about having food trucks possibly, and there's been a few food trucks pop up around town. And if we want to monitor them or what?
How long they can be out and stuff?
Or monitor them, that they pay a fee and that they are properly licensed and stuff to be. And say, my question is if they're on private property or public property too. I don't know how much say we got in that either too. So. And I'll be getting out to everybody, have a touch base with you. It's been about 6 months since we had the rating review of Matt and Sarah. We'll be getting out the sheets to everybody to fill out, and we'll be going over that when the meeting's coming up again. And I had a question. This is one of our favorite. Al Michelle asked me, why does it take a person who had the fire had to request a freedom of information request to get his own report? That was a question from him. I didn't have a good answer for it. I always thought the person, if it's your fire or your accident, you can get your report for a fee of whatever it costs. You know, Matt, or not?
I don't know the past policy, but just generally, if any request of information goes through the FOIA process. I guess Sarah could clarify. She's the FOIA coordinator, so she might know more than I do. But I spoke to Al on the phone about it. Yeah.
Yeah, he was upset to me about it too.
Oh, I'm sure he was. Yeah.
If I could chime in here for a quick second. In most cases, if a person does have a fire and they come to me and request a report, I can give it to them. That's not a problem. Al's never personally asked me for it. However, when the fire occurred, we did generate a report and a bill, which he would have got. So he would have got the full report at the time he got his bill.
Okay.
That's correct.
So it's possible that it might be the bill he's upset with and not the fact that he didn't.
Yeah, he's upset with the bill too. He's upset with that too. Okay, then I was on the conference call at the Caro Center this past week. We missed you, Bob.
Yeah, I knew it was there, but I was knee deep in sugar beet pulp.
That's I guess everybody read Matt's report. It's moving along. As we said last time, it's probably going to go out for bids the end of this month, first part of next month. And another thing is buy local. I heard from one business person that somebody was up in Sebring buying a bunch of meat. And they were saying they were buying, it was told me they were buying it for the DPW, and I know it wasn't for the DPW, but you know, they were saying, why don't people buy it local, you know? So we're getting, if you can buy local, support our local businesses. That's all I got to say on that. That's about all I got. Okay, no, moving on to Matt, your report.
Yeah, I've got a lot of stuff on there, and I'm not going to go through it all because a lot of it's just updates from things that have been going on. So I'll hit the high notes. Madison Street House, we're closing on Friday, so that will be in the city's possession soon, and so we can move forward with plans for that. As I mentioned before, the museum now has a lease to look at, and I'm trying to set up a meeting with them in the next couple of weeks to go over it and try to get something back to council for approval. The Michigan Rural Water is in town doing the water and sewer rate study. Now, they've been working behind the scenes for a month or two, but now they're really in the nitty gritty doing calculations, getting information from Jeff and Curtis and Sarah. So we should have something to council to look at in February in terms of a water and sewer rate study to take a look at. As the mayor alluded to, the backhoe is up for bid. It was placed on, I think it's called Public Surplus website. The last I looked actually is it's about 11,500 is the latest bid, so it's moving up there. I mentioned a couple times I was appointed to the Michigan Municipal League Municipal Finance Committee, so I'll be lending my voice at a state level to the municipal finance needs for local governments. So we'll have our voice heard a little bit more there with other city managers and other folks. I actually wanted to, and I probably should have asked to have this placed on the agenda and didn't think about it till right this moment, but the old police building has been getting a little bit of interest in people purchasing it. I've shown it twice now, and I'm actually going to be getting an appraisal on the building to see what it's worth, because we may be receiving some offers on it in the near future. Just as options for council to take a look at, depending on the number, it might be more advantageous than having it tore down to make money instead of spend money and keep, at least in one instance, keep a business in the city. So just keep that in mind. I don't know how council feels about it. I guess you can tell me in a second here, but I've showed it twice and both have shown interest. So I ordered the dog park agility equipment. So that will be on its way along with the bench donation from Gleaner's Life Insurance. That should be here in the next, probably within the next couple months, so we can put it in the spring. And as the mayor alluded to, I was also on the Caro Center conference call as always. And the Caro Center easements are wrapping up. We've been meeting. Mike and I actually met with one of the landowners who were requesting an easement for. It's not the easiest person to get to sign a piece of paper, so we're working on him. The agreements with the state, they're bouncing back and forth between the attorneys. They've got some language problems. Once I get that stuff figured out, I will submit that to council to take a look at to make sure that it encompasses everything we need it to before we get too far in that process. So those things are coming down the pike, and that's it, unless there's any questions.
Are you able to tell us who we need the easements from, those two parties yet?
Yeah, a gentleman from Vassar named Frank Longuski. He owns Waterman Tool and Die over in Vassar. And then Cap'n.
Okay, which Cap'n is it?
It's Warren Cap'n, but it's one of their businesses that's I think it's run by Bob Gilling.
Okay.
And he's been difficult to get a hold of. So.
Who, Gilling or Cap'n?
Gilling.
I got his phone number.
I got his number too, but he keeps telling me things and then not doing it.
Where's the property at?
It's just before Spears Road. And then, well, that's the Longuski property. The Captain property is actually just on the other
It's
side
on
of
the
Spears
other
Road.
side, yes.
Yep.
Okay, my other question is on that sewer tap for the Putnam building, is that moving along okay, or?
Yeah, it's moving along okay. We had some concerns with the plans they gave us. Our engineer, in fact, I think Mike is here, but he took a look at the plans, went through it, and there were some concerns that we brought back to them, and they're still working on kind of clarifying the engineering standards that we're trying to get them to hold to.
And we always have to put a water meter on their wells too. Is that in part of the agreement too?
I don't think it was on their plans, but that's a good point that we should bring that up to them. Yeah.
Well, yeah, any wells out in the township, we have meters on the wells.
You're right. That is part of the franchise agreement and the
Yes.
ordinance. So, yeah.
Yes.
Mr. Mayor, if I could, it's Mike Carpenter. Actually, the first set of plans they submitted had public water connection shown. So, and unfortunately, they had their new sewer proposed underneath of the force main. So that was the snag they ran into. So they're finding a new home for the sewer, and then they've got to figure out what they're going to do about wells versus public water, because we told them if they wanted to do that, they had to do a 425 agreement or something. And the rumor I heard was they were going to switch the wells. So.
Yeah, another thing, Matt, you brought up that, what is it, their Indian Field has their plan out for review. I have a copy of it from the airport. I don't know if it'd be reading for anybody else that wants to read it, their master plan. And another thing to look into, I don't know if that would come under our ordinances later on too, our fee schedule for tap fees and stuff like that is very outdated, so.
That might
Anything else,
be,
Matt?
well, that might be something that comes up during our discussion on water and sewer rates. I think that might be a decent time to talk about it too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I pulled off all of the city of Lapeer's fees, they have pages and pages of fees, for different things. But they have their own building inspection and all that they do in-house. So they have a lot of fees. And they have their own police, I think, too, so. Any other questions for Matt?
If we want to double back to the police building, so currently our thought is that we wanted to demolish it and use the lot, or?
That was talk at one time, is making a parking lot there if nothing else.
I definitely like the idea of selling it a lot better, obviously.
It'll be getting it back on the tax roll.
Yeah. And in one case, as Matt said, keeping a business in town.
Yes.
Yeah. I think that, there are parking lots in the area and street parking, and I think like one less lot in town is a good thing.
Yeah, one of the other things that I wanted to, I just thought of it too. There was interest in the old recycling facility too from one of those individuals. They wanted to see if we would sell it, but I kind of steered them towards the police building for two reasons. Number one, we have kind of a general plan of recreational facility out there, and number two, that would be a business moving out of the city. So I tried to steer them back to stay within the city limits. So since we had the police building anyway, I figured I'd show it to them instead of trying to have them move out there.
Yeah.
Did you, Matt, get anywhere with the farmer's market manager, or did that not happen yet?
They reviewed the applicants, and then the selection committee will be meeting with them this week, in fact, to do interviews on Thursday. So we should hopefully we'll have somebody in our crosshairs by then, and we will have a market manager. So
Okay.
Yeah. Yep. We're still working on it.
Anything else? Like to add to Corey that There's never anything definite about the old police station and stuff, you know, it was. And that would be something after we address the parking lots or those houses by the police building in that parking lot. That was for a project down the road a piece if we're ever going to do anything. But if we have people interested in it, that's another story. That's a good story.
Agree.
Yeah, one complexity that Jeff brings up is that there's a water main that goes directly beneath the police department, but there's a building on it now, so it's not like it's going to change any conditions to that.
And the buildings off of State Street's on top of it too, so there's two buildings on it.
The first house that's on the new parking lot for the fire or the police building, you know, the first house that we already own, there were lights on in there the other night when I went by. Is somebody back in there, or we don't really know?
I think they're using it as storage until they can no longer use it. I think they've left that kitchen light on for a while.
Okay.
And so I'm working on getting in the house. We've actually got better addresses, so I'm making contact with the previous renters now to make sure they're out. Because once they're out, we're just going to go in and figure out what we need to figure out. But I know that they're still storing things there. So at least out in the shed, they had a motorcycle in the shed. So we got to be careful about going in there and if they're still using it, even though, yes, I know that they've kind of burned the bridge there, but
I mean, we should take legal action too, to try and collect our some back rent money.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. Actually, we just resubmitted a letter to them with their updated thing. We want to make sure we make sure they understand and they know the numbers, so that once we do take legal action, they can't say, "Oh, they never told us." So Sarah actually updated our letter to them, advising them that we're going to take legal action because the last one came back to us undelivered. So we're making overtures to take that action.
Okay.
Yep.
Any other items for Matt? Otherwise, we move on to Sarah.
Okay, I've been working on completing and mailing out the W-2s and 1099s for last year. Completed some quarterly reports that are due around now. I've been working with getting some of the information requested for the Michigan Rural Water Association water study that they're working on. Been cleaning up some of the upstairs storage attic. I don't know if any of you have ever been upstairs at City Hall, but it is completely packed with documents from 30 years ago that are just way past the retention schedule. So I've been working on trying to clean that out. Been working on our second quarter financials, which we'll be having that report done at the next meeting. Submitted that DPW generator claim to insurance. I haven't heard anything back on it yet. Conducted employee evaluations with staff. I attended the county clerk's meeting. I am participating in a statewide risk limiting audit tomorrow. It's going to be in Waterton Township. It's going to be public and recorded. About 23 of the other jurisdictions are also in it. So we'll be doing that tomorrow. And that's about it.
Clerking. No
Clicking.
treasuring.
I have a random question, Sarah.
Yes.
Just because I'm hearing horror stories from other places around the state. When's the last time you received a ballot in the mail?
I have not received, I probably received one ballot in the mail after the election. That might have been like the day or two after the election, but that was it.
Okay. Because my friend said she just got her voter guide in the mail yesterday.
Oh.
So I'm wondering
wow.
And my friend, I had another friend say that, you know, how we can go on the Michigan Secretary of State page and it shows absentee ballots and you can track your ballot and that whole situation.
Yep.
His has not yet been received.
Oh, no.
So that's
So
why
those
I'm
should be
just,
up to date. So yeah, if it says
Right.
not received, and yeah.
right. So he's all frustrated. So,
Gotcha.
yeah, just, that's why I was just asking random questions. No, nothing here, just other places in the state.
Okay.
Sarah, is tomorrow's audit something that is regularly scheduled, or is that a new thing?
It's a new thing that they just started with the March audit, or with the March election. Normally, this would be done completely different, but being as with COVID this year, they did it a different way. So yeah, it's new, and it's new to me because I'm new into this position. This is my first year doing elections, so but I know it is new to what they've done in the past.
Okay. Let's move on to any additional public comments. Any additional public comments? Any additional comments for the council? If
I
not,
do. I do. Broken record. I've been talking about it for 2 years. We need to put on next meeting's agenda, this 5,000 square foot rule. We need to take care of that. I've been bringing it up for 2 years. We got to do something about it. Somebody
That's
said-
not in my jurisdiction. That's a
Somebody said
policy.
planning commission or something. We make the
It's-
rules. We need a discussion on it.
It's zoning and planning. I can't do that in policy.
The master plan is the best place to bring that up, Don. So when we do the master plan next year, that's the spot I think you should.
Next year.
Well, in the next budget, yeah. That's the time to do it because the planning commission is legally required to do the master plan. And I know that's
right
not what you
now,
want to hear, but that's the best time to do it, I think.
right now, a person could ask for a variance, right?
That's a joke. No.
What?
I was told point blank before, you can ask for it, but you're no chance in hell. That was the exact word. That was the exact answer I got last time I asked about it.
Well, the planning commission would have to turn it down. Then you have to go to the zoning board of appeals.
Right.
And the last couple that went to the zoning board of appeals, they both got approved that I know of. There was one last year. and
One
this
was a
year.
pole barn that he had the property to build it on. I'm talking, you want to build a house, the property's 5,000 square foot because your house burnt down. No, you can't rebuild. The property's not big enough. And people have went to that and got turned down. That's why we have so many vacant lots. And it's been brought up at the planning commission and they really don't want to discuss it either. So I guess next step is what Matt said. I'll go there.
Well, it's for the council to give direction too.
Well, that's what I thought, but
Well, speaking of that pole building, how long can that just sit there in the state that it's in? That's pathetic.
Well, building permits are good for a year.
yeah.
That's unfortunate.
It's not moving very fast. Let's
It's
put it
not
that way.
moving at all. It's not moving at all.
What are you talking about, Jill? I guess I'm not.
Kitchen pole
The,
barn.
Kitchen's garage on Lincoln Street or not on Lincoln Street. Their
I think
house
it's on
building.
Monroe Street.
Yeah.
They brought in landfill and I think they've got some poles sticking up in the air and that's the extent of it. That's been the extent of it for months.
Yeah, he has the poles up, but not the truss. Nothing else. It's not moving.
Right.
Is
There's
that-
nothing happening
Is that
there.
the piece that's got all the concrete buried underneath it there?
No,
No.
this is a different lot. This is on the Lincoln and Monroe, is it?
Yeah. It's
Lincoln
another
and-
lot he's got permission to screw up in the city of Caro.
Okay. just, I guess I haven't paid any attention to it.
It's, his house faces Lincoln Street.
Mhm.
Lincoln Street is at the corner of Lincoln and Monroe. And
You guys-
directly behind him is where
What?
he's putting the pole building.
And you guys, for those of you that don't know what I was talking about, or tornado could go down, let's just use Fremont Street. It could go down Fremont Street and wipe out every house in that block. Not one person could rebuild unless they have
I
7,000 square
know.
feet.
The neighbor kitty corner from me, his house burnt down.
Could not rebuild, yes.
Yes.
But it was a very large house, and he couldn't even put the same size house up or a smaller one. They just said, your lot's too small. He went to appeals and lost.
Yeah.
But that's what I'm talking about, the lot sizes. We have to, I mean, if a tornado took out 3 city blocks, we'd have a lot of empty blocks.
And like I was to a meeting over in Muskegon or Muskegon Heights, they emphasizes to build on those 50-foot lots because you already got the water and sewer in front of them. Right now, your taxes on a vacant lot is $200 a year, if most.
200 versus a couple thousand.
Versus getting $1,000, $1,500 in taxes on the same lot where you have the water, sewer, and gas already.
Exactly.
And there was houses there before. A lot of your
Exactly.
streets have, all your houses are on 50-foot lots,
Well, back in the day when they laid out towns like this, there wasn't such a thing as, surveys and things like that. They just went from stump to stump, and that's how it became. And then they put the street there, and now you can't change it.
Right.
I'm not saying that it's a bad thing to use these lots up, because we should, but
Right.
that's the way it was back in the day. I mean, it was a 50-foot lot. That's it.
Yeah, and parts of towns were built on 50-foot
Right.
lots.
And it's the old parts of town. I mean, it's not like Caro's an old town. If you think about it, it's an old town.
And plus, a lot of people want smaller houses now. They don't want bigger houses, They want smaller houses if you're retiring and stuff.
I'm sure the guys that were on the committee, do you guys remember all the commotion about me when I was doing Allen Street? I'm sure,
Oh, yeah.
Joe, you.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, 90% of it was the lot size. That's what took so long. They give me the okay, then they shut me down, then they give me the okay, then they shut me down. And it was all over the lot size. And, so I'm real familiar with lot sizes as far as building on.
Well, I just shut you down just by your looks.
Well, that's beside the point, Bob.
We need new construction in the city of Caro, and if we can put that new construction on 50-foot lots, that's what we need to do.
I agree. And where do we got to go to, Matt? What'd you say?
Well, I think you might be able to just direct the planning commission to come up with a plan for that. If
They
you
don't want to do it. I've been there. They don't want to do it.
You could direct me to do it.
Okay, I'll direct you to do it.
And I'll second his direction.
Okay, we got motion and support to direct the planning commission to come up with a plan to be able to build houses on 50-foot lots. Okay, Sarah?
Thank you, guys.
Yes.
She's got to catch up.
All right, Botchke,
Yes.
Campbell,
Yes.
Eschenbacher,
Yeah.
Paul,
Yes.
Jones Hollaback,
Yes.
White,
Yes.
Mayor Green.
Yes. Motion carried. Any other additional comments?
Only in fact to get a telephone pole put up by that sign and some lights out there on 81. That's all I want.
We just had to bore under the road for meter and
How to put it.
Yeah, we're working on it.
Problem.
We're working on it. Jeff's getting a quote from Ken Martin to do that for us.
Bob, if you remember right, that was my other complaint forever until I gave up.
Yeah.
Yes, it was.
Mr. Mayor, it looks like Mike Carpenter would like to weigh in on the 50-foot.
Okay. Okay, Mike.
Actually, I was gonna let the council know that the planning commission was working on that. Unfortunately, the champion to that was Elvin. So he obviously was off the planning commission for a brief period of time, and we have not met since since then. So Elvin had done some research and we had a discussion about it at the planning commission to a degree. So, and I know that the manager and I talked with the planner about it a few months back, just to try to strategize what really needs to be fixed, whether it's the square footage or whether it's a different part of the ordinance that allows a the non-conforming use part, whether that could be modified accordingly, or want to make sure that if we fix something, it's the right thing.
Okay, thank you, Mike. Any additional items? If not, entertain a motion.
Motion to adjourn.
Or
Any discussion? Okay, Sarah?
Campbell,
yes.
Eschenbacher,
Yeah.
Paul,
Yes.
Jones Hollaback,
Yes.
White,
Yes.
Botchke,
Yes.
Mayor Green.
Yes, motion carried. Thank you, everybody.
Have a good night,
Take
everybody.
care.
Good night.
Good night.
Good night.
Mayor Green. I will be in at 8 tomorrow, whenever you would like to come in to sign the checks.
Okay, thank you.